Ready。这真的吗？看起来蛮真实的哦，但是这么清楚吗？真的，在亚利桑那州，哇，看起来好像是什么哪吒三太子出巡吗？大家看得出来这个是假的吗？还是真的 ？OK。
Able to read, they're able to play ping pong, ride a bike. I mean, insane stuff.
Is that because of frequencies, being able to feel it?
It's several techniques being used. Different groups use different techniques, but they all get to the same result.
Yellow, blue, yellow, orange, blue, green.
Scientifically measuring the amount of light inside the mask to show that there's zero light. So technically you're not supposed to see without light. Basically you're asking your brain to control your vision.
So your brain can see.
Well, actually you don't see with your eyes, you see with your brain.
Really?
Yes, it's your brain. I mean the eyes are just the receptor, you know, it's like the optical lens.
Got it.
You know, but actually vision is controlled by the brain.
Wow.
So if there is no light, technically you're not supposed to see because there's no reflection on objects. And yet, with that training, you can see completely blindfolded in the dark.
这就是李嗣涔教授在做的这个遥视的一种嘛，就是小朋友，但是好像是我觉得是有岁数的限制，对不对？好像是小朋友才行。
Why were the flash floods in Texas so bad? Last week, rivers in Texas flooded as high as 26 feet. Generally, flash floods happen because there's a lot of rain very quickly, and the ground just can't absorb it fast enough. It's worse in dry areas or cities where the ground is pavement. In the case of Texas, the south central region got about a foot of rain in a day. This area is prone to flash floods, but the lack of warning made it worse. Usually in an emergency like this, an array of systems is used to try and reach everyone. Text, social media, knocking on doors. The National Weather Service did issue warnings beforehand, but the county didn't send its first mobile push alert until Sunday. 2 days later, NOAA, which is a federal agency, has had budget cuts. But the $2 billion cut the White House wants hasn't actually happened yet. The National Weather Service, which is under NOAA, reportedly does have staffing issues, with almost half of their offices at a 20% vacancy or more. The Austin-San Antonio Warning Coordination Meteorologist position is empty. According to NOAA's website, it is a coordinator, so their key work takes place weeks or months in advance. Some say this job would have been helpful during the storm, which is one of the reasons why some members of Congress are calling for an investigation. But some say it's not that one job that would have made the difference. Another reason this was so bad is climate change. Warmer atmospheres can hold more moisture, which is another reason why the heaviest storms in Texas dropped 20% more water than they did in the 1950s. One thing is for sure, weather monitoring is a complex process that requires a lot of moving parts. You need satellites, which means someone needs to build them and launch them. You need scientists to analyze the data so you can develop early warning systems. Budget cuts in those kinds of agencies help no one in a disaster.
我们的好朋友前的 CIA 分析师 John Ramirez.
Where does remote viewing and that stuff fall in? Which category?
That's MASINT.
That's MASINT as well?
I would put it in the MASINT because there's a branch of MASINT that is like biological MASINT or biometric MASINT.
测量与特征情报是情报领域的一个专业术语，一种情报收集方式，能够探测、追踪并识别目标所具有的独特物理或技术特征，如热量、辐射、振动或化学痕迹等。这些信息通常难以通过传统监视手段获取。
MASINT.
Biometric MASINT. Okay.
And human brain MASINT is a real thing. It's signatures coming from the human brain.
Whoa.
And so that...
They can measure that?
Yeah, you can. I mean, Stanford University is...
Yeah, but I mean,
things like that.
Do you think they still do it?
I would think so, yeah.
So
I think that it's still a field of study, because humans had magnetic sense at one time, just like whales and cetaceans. You know, they could sense the magnetic field changes in the earth, and they use these creatures use it to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
And every time there's some disruption, solar flares or whatever that causes the disruption, they get lost and they beach themselves.
Right.
Because they get lost. And the humans, they detected that we have a dormant capability of doing that. Whether it's dormant or it was made dormant deliberately, I don't know. That's a whole nother area of discussion. But humans had that, or still do, a dormant sense of Earth's magnetic field. Also, your human skin is a MASINT collector, in that the sweat glands are helical antennas. So underneath your skin, there are little helical antennas, and they act like electromagnetic antennas, and they can measure the wavelength that your skin is able to detect.
Huh.
It's up in the like 400, 500 gigahertz range, up there, millimeter wave, they call it. But, you know, you think about how to affect a human being, zap them with that range of signals.
And they start sweating?
They start doing all kinds of things. Or you can use acoustic signatures, acoustic signals, and you can make somebody sick.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the worst extreme, you can make them vomit.
Oh my God!
Because you know your abdominal cavity, there's a resonance there in the audio range, and if you hit it with that audio range, you know, all of a sudden things in there starts to quiver and you get physically sick.
Interesting. 频率的话可以影响脑波，可以影响生理状态。哇塞 ，Alrighty.
If you thought that the Diddy verdict was wild, just listen to what the US government said today. Axios has just obtained a memo where the DOJ and FBI concluded that they have no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed any powerful figures, that they have no evidence that he kept a client list, and they have no evidence he was murdered. To support these statements, they released over 10 hours of footage that they say indicates no one entered the area of Epstein's cell on the night he died. But, as you can see, this footage is not from the cameras directly outside his cell. That's because in 2020, the jail revealed that unfortunately, that footage had been permanently destroyed by accident due to technical errors. The memo also adds that investigators found no evidence that could predicate an investigation against currently uncharged third parties, and this is despite in February Pam Bondi being asked if the justice system would release Epstein's client list, to which she responded,
"It's sitting on my desk right now to review."
And then, just to top it off, remember the truckloads of Jeffrey Epstein documents that the FBI promised they were going to release? Well, now the memo says that, quote, no further disclosure of Epstein-related material would be appropriate or warranted. So it looks like that's that. This is where the official story of Jeffrey Epstein seems to end. The question is, what do you guys think?
Epstein File 艾普斯丁吗？它的中文叫艾普斯丁的档案。Alrighty.
Well, breaking fucking the news. Scientists are warning tomorrow and for the next few months, days will be shorter than ever. Some of the shortest in history because the Earth is spinning a lot faster than usual. There was filler space there because I needed everybody to understand what the fuck I just read and said out of my mouth. The Earth is spinning. Let's speed this up. Come on. At this point, I think I can speak for a good majority of us. We don't give a fuck. At this day and age, brother, we don't care. Let's just go ahead and get this. Let's just go ahead and get the ball going. Like, what the fuck do you mean the Earth is going to spin faster than usual? And days will be the shortest. They said as early as of tomorrow, the day could be shortest. It could be 6 o'clock, sun's down. I beg your finest pardon?
所以这个是在大概是7月几号？7月4号、7月6号。已经有报道说，我们这边因为受月亮的影响，所以说呢，我们这个月会有几天是地球转的特别快的几天。但其实他说快的话，也就是0.01秒还是0.001秒之类的，所以说并没有那么严重，好吗 ？Alrighty.
Do you think the moon's real?
No, absolutely not. The Dogon tribe in Africa talks about the time before the moon. Literally, there was a time before the moon, which means what? Which means the moon was implanted there. It was not made by, quote unquote, the original OG God. It was implanted there. And like literally, there's a whole science about how it connects to Saturn and how it's literally like an energy suck station, how it's influencing the water and the magnetism of the reproductive cycle, the hormonal cycle. We're water. We're 70-something% water. If it affects the ocean, is it affecting us? Absolutely. Saturn is communicating with the moon and there's like a connection there and it's pulling energy. And there was a time before the moon, which means it was planted there. Yeah.
Right, Saturn, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard that Saturn is like Satan or something. And when you listen to Saturn, I don't know if you've ever heard of sort of this tone that comes from each planet, but when you get to Saturn, it sounds like hell.
I haven't particularly sat and listened to Saturn, but yeah, I'm not scared. Like, maybe I'll listen to it. Yeah.
Okay. Ready.
Sí, dos lunas y se ven las estrellas ahí.
Livermore, CA.
Chicken. Voice activated. Defrost!
Look right here. Look right here. Right here. Look. Look, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone, bruh. Look at this shit. It's there, and now it's not. It's there, and now it's not, bruh. What is that? Bruh. What is that? What is that?
Oh yeah. 什么鬼东西呀？什么鬼东西
Bruh. What is that? One more time. Bruh. What is that? What is that?
Cool. OK， 所以我原本我第一眼看到这一个影片的时候，我以为是 AI generated， 结果不是。这个地方呢是在罗马尼亚图尔达市的一个古老地下盐矿，现在被改造成一个结合观光、休闲、疗愈功能的地下主题乐园。所以说这是一个游乐园呢，好酷哦，好未来感的游乐园哦。
It's hard to talk about dimensions. But I was standing behind an alien in a spacecraft, just a small one, which I understand get bigger and smaller depending upon. At any rate, he said, "You shouldn't be here." And I said, "I know, I realize this is a strange place, but before I go, could I ask you a question?" And this is really a very strong memory in me. Yep. I don't remember what I had for dinner last night, but this is in there. I'm telling myself I'm silly again. Dude, it's not in there. At any rate, and he said, "Okay." And I said, "How do you get from here to Alpha Centauri?" We can't do that. The only thing that we think about is I have to go really fast for a really long time. How is it that you can go to Alpha Centauri without any problem? And essentially he said, "You wouldn't understand." So I said, I agree. That's a problem. However, I know that you have access to my mental thoughts. I mean, you're not talking to me with your mouth. You have access to my mental thoughts, and I understand that. Can you use what information I have in my head and try to explain it to me? And he said, well, do you know what a Rubik's Cube is? And I said, oh, yeah, my son can do them in 2 minutes. He says, okay, so imagine a Rubik's Cube, but not necessarily just the 6 sides. Just imagine the concept of a Rubik's Cube. And I said, okay. Now imagine on each one of the tiles on the Rubik's Cube has a chart of the elements, an elemental chart. And you say, oh, yeah, I know what that is. You know, I've had science in school and everything. He says, now, on each of the other 5 surfaces, there's also elemental charts. And I said, so, okay, but what's the deal? And he said, well, you're thinking about going that way very fast for a very long time. What he didn't say to me, which I'm thinking right now, there's no space and time. I'm only thinking that right now. That wasn't part of the explanation.
Uh-huh.
And he says, so what you do to get to Alpha Centauri is you just twist the cube. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I told you wouldn't understand. And he said, when the periodic table occurs in a different place, you're at that place. And that's just a very crude explanation. But you have to stop thinking about go that way for a long time very fast. It doesn't work.
OK， 所以这一位是 F. Holmes Skip Atwater， 是前美国陆军情报人员，也是著名的远距观看，也就是遥视 （remote viewing） 专家。他曾在冷战期间领导美军的远距观看项目，就是遥视项目，协助军方搜集神秘情报，包括 UFO 相关现象的调查。退役后，他成为意识研究机构蒙罗研究院 （The Monroe Institute） 总裁，专注于人类意识扩展与超感知能力的研究。他的经历使他成为研究 UFO 和意识科学领域的重要人物之一。
They used to train their military staff to get out of their body and go remote view the Soviets to gain access to secret, information. Remote viewing has its roots in military, right? And so remote viewing is cool in particular because there's something called scientific remote viewing, which means that you could do a blind test or a double blind test, which means that you get coordinates and those coordinates link you to a location. So that can be proven, right? You can be alone in a room, get these coordinates that mean nothing at all, and then link that to a location and then prove that, yes, you are indeed getting out of your body, going to a location and seeing what's there at that location.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So, interesting fact, the cedar waxwing likes to eat berries and things off of trees. Problem being, in the southeast, in the wintertime, the sugar in the berries concentrates, and then when the weather warms up, it breaks the sugar down, fermenting the sugars, turning it into alcohol. Notice how this bird is just chilling and hanging out with a berry in his mouth? This bird is drunk off his ass right now.
Oh, wow.
Okay, what I'm going to share with you guys is what we know to be real and true. And when I tell you this, I urge you to not restrict your thinking to technology. We've been collecting UAP data for more than 5 years with electromechanical signaling. We call this our dog whistle. What the technology is classified. Generally speaking, we see 3 to 5 different classifications of UAP per day during operations. To make sense of our data, we had to develop a lexicon, and we base it off of flight characteristics. Again, there are 9 different flights or classes, and some of these UAPs may be the same type of UAP under different flight configurations. But at this point, given their behavior, we are confident that they do not align with your typical extraterrestrial explanation. Again, each UAP has different characteristics. Some tumble, some spin, some flicker, some just look like a living being flying in the sky. UAPs are extremely hard to image. What is seen with the naked eye generally is not what is seen under camera, and we do not know why. Class 1 is the tetra. It usually spins, it tumbles, it looks like a black body. Sometimes it flickers multiple times per second. It appears to have a cloud or vapor around it. We've seen class 1s in formations up to 20 to 23 in a flock or formation. Classification 2 is known as a tic-tac, but I feel like I should go through classifications 2 through 9 in another video, so there will be a part 2.
Okay, so this little guy is called the Giza Mini. It's basically a mini robot on wheels that follows you around and carries your stuff. It's like having a tiny personal assistant that's always there to haul around whatever you need, up to 20 pounds. And if you're thinking, that doesn't look big enough, there's actually a much bigger version called the Giza Plus. That one can actually haul double the weight and has a lot more space. So it's great if you're carrying a lot more heavier stuff or like to go grocery shopping and get bigger things. Now here's the cool part. It's got cameras and sensors on the front, so it knows exactly who to follow and how to dodge obstacles. And it doesn't care where you take it. Concrete, dirt, grass, whatever. It just adapts. I've been using mine for grocery runs, and let me tell you, not pushing a cart around is really nice. Now sure, you'll get some stares, but honestly, just own it. You're saving yourself a ton of extra effort.
You know, it just carries your stuff with you, like you put your groceries in there.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I was telling him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and as a bonus, it's also got a built-in Bluetooth speaker, so you can blast some tunes when you're out with your friends. Honestly, I can see this being super helpful for older folks or for anyone who has trouble carrying heavy stuff. So if you're looking for a hands-free way to get through your daily errands, definitely check out the Giza Mini.
Hey. Oh. Ooh, nice. No way. Wow. That's cool. Red Bull give you wings. All right.
I now know categorically that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology.
Okay. This categorical statement from investigative journalist Ross Coulthard, if true, reframes the entire UFO narrative. It suggests the alien story, long nurtured in the shadows, may be the perfect cover for a terrestrial secret of profound importance. Conversely, it raises the possibility that legitimate non-human phenomena are being deliberately obscured behind a smokescreen of rumored experimental human craft, creating a hall of mirrors where each story serves to conceal the other.
The Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology. Why are we being lied to? This is the issue. Why is the United States government now participating at White House executive level in collusion with the national security state to keep secret the fact that they've made these advances? I suspect it's because they've realized that they're being overtaken by their foreign adversaries, and they don't want you to know that.
But what do you think? Is the Tic Tac man-made, or is it alien tech?
OK， 所以给大家一点这个人是谁的一个背景资料。这个人是 Ross Coulthard， 是一个澳洲资深调查记者，曾任职于60分钟 60 Minutes 跟四角等节目 Four Corners。所以说呢，他是一个调查记者，然后后来呢就是转型成 就是调查专门是有关于这种幽浮的这一类的话题哦。OK。
Right there. Press pause if you could. So this is a recreation of a glyph of a painting that once existed. It was destroyed. This is the only example of them even doing anything with stone depicted, but this is not showing them cut a block.
What do you think they're using when those guys are on their knees? It's showing a line. What do you think that is?
I think that they're doing measurements in order to put in hieroglyphs, because we know they did. There's actual evidence of them doing glyphs over prior work. It quite literally could just be showing them carved stuff into it. I saw examples where you have this wonderful stone and then these crude glyphs carved into it. Why would the glyphs look like shit in comparison to a wonderful block? And that's not to say all the glyphs look like shit. Some are spectacular. Let me just clarify. Dynastic Egyptians are the so-called ancient Egyptians we were all learned about in school. My argument and others' argument is that there was people before them doing work.
All right. UFO spotted over Marietta, Georgia. 7月10号 2025 OK 我们来看一下。
Whoa. I don't see it. I'm on the front porch.
像风筝。
Okay, look toward
Oh my God, that is strange.
Look, east. Look east.
Hey.
Wow.
Incredible. Yeah.
是不是在变形啊？
Do you see it, Mom? No. Oh, shit, you're kidding me. I'm on Marietta, facing Newport Road, and I'm staring right at it.
Dude, it's huge.
Green, blue, it's going in circles.
What the heck?
Totally staying still. Now it's spinning in circles. Oh my God. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Well, I don't see
What the hell is it?
I'm in the middle of my
Oh my God.
有没有看到刚刚从头开始像一个，我以为是个风筝，也像一个比如说乌龟的风筝，怎么后来慢慢的变形了？
Whoa. Oh my God, dude.
You see it, Mom? No. Well, it's not far from your house.
所以说你觉得呢？这个到底是什么东西？ Alright.
This can't be real. You are not gonna believe the follow-up scans that revealed what's really under the entire Giza Plateau. So back in March, these guys came out and basically told the world there probably actually are large megastructures beneath the middle pyramid of Khafre in Egypt. Massive pillars that go down up to 2 kilometers underground, a monumental discovery that initiated the Khafre project. Well, they released a follow-up presentation going over some new finds, and it just keeps getting more
之前我
insane.
们就有看过这一个最新的，就是他们发现在金字塔底下的这一个巨大的结构。 看起来他们有新的发现，有新的说明。
Addressing concerns about the legitimacy of their technology that was used to make these discoveries. Synthetic aperture radar scanning, SAR, going into an in-depth technical explanation of how this technology works, calling it a way to listen to Earth from space, which is what it is. This SAR scanning method allows us to see what's beneath Earth's surface using a satellite in orbit, a truly revolutionary technology, but the experts came out and just shat all over it, claiming it to be not accurate at all and that we can't trust the results. Well, the Khafre boys just said, hold my beer, and gave us proof after proof of how accurate SAR really is for over an hour straight. From small-scale testing in their garage to real-world application on many sites and locations around the world, getting verifiable results time and time again. From tunnels in Nevada to a mountain range in Italy and the Mosul Dam in Iraq. Their SAR scans consistently show exactly what we expect to be there. They even show the SAR scan of the Osiris shaft in the Giza Plateau, a known causeway that runs between the Khafre pyramid and the Sphinx, which accurately mapped out all 3 levels of the shaft with incredible precision, even revealing what they're calling a high-density structure over 2.5 times deeper than the current documented depth of the Osiris shaft, as well as a new unknown tunnel that appears to be running parallel to the entire shaft. Then they performed more SAR scans of the Giza Plateau, and what they found completely changes everything we know again, starting with verifying the Big Void above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid of Khufu, a large isolated cavity recently finally discovered in 2017, about the size of an airplane that still has not been explored yet, which Egyptologists were also initially highly skeptical of, but now admit that it really does exist. We don't know what's inside this big void or what it was used for, and we haven't explored it yet out of fear of damaging it, but the SAR scans confirmed that it's there. Then the Khafre boys go on to reveal this. Similar mega pillars as they found under the Khafre pyramid beneath the smaller pyramid of Menkaure, going over 1 kilometer straight down, with a chamber at the very bottom at a depth of 1.2 kilometers underground. This chamber is about the size of the entire pyramid of Menkaure on the surface, over a kilometer underground, which would be just an earth-shattering discovery to say the least, with even more chambers detected along the middle of these newly discovered megastructures. And now this is where the presentation goes from wow, that's cool to no away. They present a few overhead satellite photos of the area, which shows us just how many shafts there are across the entire Giza Plateau. Every mark you see on the map here is a shaft, some deeper than others, but there's a lot. They even suggest that the structures currently standing over these shafts may have been built by later dynasties to intentionally cover their entrances, because SAR scans of these shafts show that some of them also go down over 1 kilometer underground, and again at 1.2 kilometers down appear to connect to some larger chamber picked up by the scans, the same depth that other chamber beneath Menkaure was, along with even more horizontal passageways that appear to be tunnels that connects everything together. Essentially, a whole ass underground complex over a kilometer beneath the surface of the entire Giza Plateau. Exactly what ancient myths and crazy theorists have been insisting for generations. And this is just the start, with their scans showing many other pillars, chambers, tunnels, and all sorts of crazy shit happening under the Giza Plateau. Megastructures beneath Khafre, Khufu, and Menkaure, all 3 main pyramids of Egypt. Random shafts have massive pillars and structures running through them, and if you look closely, there even appears to be something beneath the Sphinx as well, all appearing to connect with underground horizontal tunnels, as well as a larger chamber at a depth of about 1.2 kilometers down. Wow, which the researchers behind the Khafre project themselves stand by the claim that these structures are estimated to be around 38,000 years old. This is what they showed at the end of their presentation, which I really hope they'll be covering in more detail very soon. They even revealed they're working with professors at Stanford University to replicate their data and validate all the claims they're making. So all you it's not peer-reviewed nerds can finally shut the fuck up.
Alright.
What was that? You guys. I got that.
Alright. Crazy movie fact.
I think one of the craziest movie factoids of all time was casually dropped on a Joe Rogan episode. He was interviewing Bob Lazar, a man who claims to have worked on extraterrestrial technology at Area 51 back in 1989. What's crazy about Bob's story is how credible he sounds and how people who study body language have done breakdowns on when Bob speaks, he gives off no physical indicators that he's lying. Bob was talking about back in the 80s about how these UFO aircrafts were powered by Element 115, which everyone made fun of him for because there's no such thing as Element 115, until the existence of Element 115 became public knowledge in February 2004. People have found his story to be quite believable up until this moment when he's telling Joe about a hand scanner that he would use to get inside the top secret facility that he worked at. Movie aficionados say this is the moment that proves Bob is full of crap because that same hand scanner was a prop used in the 1977 film Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I thought this was proof that Bob Lazar was lying myself until I started researching how Close Encounters was filmed. A man by the name of J. Allen Hynek worked on the film as a creative consultant, and he actually cameoed in the movie right here. Hynek was a brilliant professor and astronomer who worked as a scientific advisor on UFO studies for the United States Air Force. He worked on 3 different UFO projects for the military: Project Sign, Project Grudge, and Project Blue Book. He was handpicked by Steven Spielberg to work on the film because Spielberg wanted to bring as much realism to the film as possible. He wanted to hire people like Hynek who are privy to these top secret facilities and have seen the tech they use himself. And the more you dig on this hand scanner, the more more evidence of its existence that you find. Dozens and dozens of first-hand accounts of people saying a similar thing. People saying things like, oh yeah, I remember our company using this for a short while, but it was kind of a pain in the butt, so they eventually stopped using it. But because this tech never went mainstream, people assume it never existed, just like Element 115. Whenever I watch this movie, I just can't help but think to myself, now that we know that that isn't just some made-up movie prop, what else in this movie do we just automatically assume is fiction, but is actually closer to the truth than we think?
Oh yeah， 所以说第三类接触 The Close Encounter of the Third Kind 是1977年上映的。诶，第三类接触，这样让我想回去看看第三类接触的内容到底是什么耶。所以现在如果再来看看，感觉可能完全不一样哦。All right。This
is a real video coming straight from Oaxaca, Mexico, of a duende caught on camera, bro. This day. Bro, stop. So you're gonna be looking in the the walkway area over here and shit. Okay.
Right here?
Yes. Hold on. There it appears. It's right there.
Oh, right there?
And then watch.
Oi.
Vanishes.
Wait, hold on. Let me see.
Bro, replay that.
And that's not a person, bro. It's way too small.
And how the fuck does it disappear that fast? Vanishes.
Nah. That's not no camera glitch, bro. This is crazy.
Let me know what you guys think. What the fuck do you think that is? Do you guys think it's a duende?
Well, 看起来就是像一个小
comment it down, bro. When she showed me that.
所以 duende 是来自西班牙、拉丁美洲和菲律宾民间传说中的一种小型神秘生物，外形像是小矮人或者是精灵，常住在屋内、森林深处或者是地板下。有些时候他们顽皮捣蛋，会藏东西、恶作剧，但也有传说他们会保护小孩，甚至会预警危险。在不同的文化中 duende 的个性也不一样，有的会引人迷路，有的则默默帮你修鞋子或守护家园。诶，那这个不就是我们说的魔神仔吗？魔神仔哦。
Did you hear about how prisons now give VR headsets to their most hardened prisoners? Here's some photos from a prison in California. This is a program in the UK. And here's a women's prison in Maryland. At first I thought living through VR in a cage seemed a bit too much like The Matrix. Yeah. But then I looked into it. And now it's clear, this is gonna be huge. You see, the prisoners in these cages actually went through solitary confinement first. And that can seriously mess you up, because it isolates you from other humans and deprives you of any kind of stimulation. So maybe now you think this is forced stimulation. But these headsets aren't for playing games. Instead, they help you readjust. In the beginning, you go through scenarios like, what if someone rudely bumps into you on the street? Do you stab them or apologize and move on? But then as you work through the program, you learn skills that can get you a job after prison.
Wow, 就是再教育计划，太恐怖了吧？我不知道我觉得有点不知道该怎么想你们觉得呢？ All right.
Media is like, there's aliens, and then it's like, there's no aliens. Do you think it's just conditioning?
100%. They want to roll it out because aliens will detach you from God. And I think aliens are just angels and demons.
I mean, yeah, that's the side I side on. Just the supernatural of it all. Because you can go back, way back in history. And throughout scripture, it's like, if you were to see that today, you'd be like, this is an alien invasion.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like these creatures, 4 wings, 4 heads, and it's like the wheel within the wheel.
You know, Aleister Crowley, obviously we're not a fan of that guy, but he talked that there will be an era of the Thoth, which is an old Egyptian god. You will see his return when the sky is burning, and the angels and demons will return, and they will be called a different name. There's this belief that the name will be aliens. They're being sold to us as aliens. Yeah. There's a very famous study where the Pentagon stopped studies into aliens because everyone at the Pentagon came to believe it was angels and demons.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
CIA just posted on its website a single-page summary, there it is, of a hostile encounter between the Russian army and a flying saucer that is said to have occurred sometime between 1989 and 1990. So that's when, according to portions of an extensive 250-page KGB file featuring witness testimony and photographs, detail how 25 Soviet troops were practicing training drills when a, quote, low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer, unquote, flew above their base in Siberia. Now, the report states that for unknown reasons, the sighting prompted the men to launch a surface-to-air missile, bringing the craft down. The report goes on to say the sphere burst into an explosion of white light, leaving 23 of the men, quote, turned into stone poles, unquote, while the remaining 2 that apparently were shielded from the blast by being in the shade escaped unharmed. Now, the bodies of the victims and what was left of the UFO were recovered by the Red Army and taken to a research lab outside Moscow, where it was found that the molecular structure of the men was that of limestone.
What? Okay.
In California this past Friday on 4th of July and a drone was watching, you probably have a fine coming in the mail. Multiple cities across California deployed drones as part of their ongoing efforts to combat illegal fireworks. The drones can see in the dark, they use mapping software to pinpoint the exact location, and they can magnify images up to 200 times. In Sacramento, they upped the fine this year to $1,000 for the first firework and $2,500 per firework after that. And if you lit a firework on city property like a park or a school, the fine goes up to $10,000 each. Riverside has a social host law, which means if your neighbor shot fireworks over your fence, you get fined if it landed on your property,
What?
even if you weren't home. And if you're a renter, the fine's going to go to your landlord.
What? 这是什么法律？如果人家射这个鞭炮，如果人家在射烟火的话，掉到你家，然后你家被罚，是什么情况？
If Trump actually succeeds in deporting you, what's your plan? Where do you go from here?
Honestly, if I'm forced out, it'll be a huge loss for America. I'd look to where it all started, South Africa. There's an incredible wealth of minerals there, essential for batteries, advanced tech, solar farms, you name it. The land is vast. The potential is almost limitless. I could see building massive gigafactories, solar cities, maybe even recreating something like Atlantis, but on African soil. If America shuts the door, I'll open a new one, and it could end up changing the balance of innovation entirely. If Trump really thinks pushing me out will stop me, he might be in for a surprise.
Ooh. Yeah.
How do you think we're living in a simulation? I mean, I know they say they cannot disprove it.
Yeah, you can't, like, it's kind of one of these things, there's no way to prove or disprove that you live in a simulation. And so but it's like any, you know, afterlife thought or religious thought, like all these things, they're like fundamentally unprovable. But the reason I think it's the case is I think in our lifetime we are going to be able to create simulations of reality that will be hyper realistic. Like, I think we are going to create the ability to simulate different versions of our world with hyper realistic accuracy, and that will happen over the next few decades. And if we can, like, it's kind of like that Rick and Morty episode where if we have the ability as an intelligent race to produce, you know, millions of simulated worlds, then the likelihood is that we're probably also the simulation of some other more intelligent or more capable species.
Where do you think consciousness goes right now when you die? What if we are the super advanced robotics?
Yeah, I think
and your consciousness gets downloaded into another body generation.
Yeah, that's something like one way to think about it, which is like, yeah, it's all this big simulation that's running, and as soon as, like, you know, you get kind of like downloaded or like taken off or like decommissioned from, you know, one entity, you get, like, you know, uploaded to another entity kind of thing. It's kind of that's plausible. I think there's another world where, like, consciousness may not, like, be that big a deal, so to speak. Like, it could be the case that, you know, definitely as the models have gotten better and better, as the AI models have gotten better and better, you look at them and you definitely wonder if at some point you're just going to have models that are properly conscious, and it may just be the fact that it's something that can be engineered, and if it's something that can be engineered, then all bets are off, I think.
All right.
So allegedly, there's a massive fire in Area 51 that's been burning since at least July 4th. And they're just bringing light to it now. And this is the same Area 51 that everybody always talks about. The Area 51 with the extraterrestrial figure. A live stream camera that's set up behind the heavily guarded facility caught everything on camera. And if you look at that video, you can clearly see how much smoke is coming from that area. Now they're saying the blaze was sparked by the Galactic fire, and that fire has grown from 8,000 acres to at least 35,000 acres. And again, like I said, that fire started around July 4th. And of course, everybody that knows anything about Area 51 is panicking right now, because there are speculations that it's bigger than just the Galactic fire, that it has something to do with something that's going on in Area 51. Now, allegedly, there are aliens in Area 51. Allegedly, there are other life forms in Area 51. So now people want to know what's really going on with Area 51 and the wildfire that broke out in Area 51. Anybody in Nevada, reach out. We need information. I'm out.
Paranormal investigator Dan Rivera has just been found dead in his hotel room while he was on tour with the Annabelle doll as its primary caretaker. Now, this information is according to the organization hosting the doll's tour across America, and they posted online that Dan suddenly died while at an event with the doll this past weekend. Dispatch records show that firefighters and medics rushed to his hotel on Sunday night where they performed CPR, but the cause of death has not been disclosed. Dan was only 54 years old and was the lead investigator for the New England Society for Psychic Research. Annabelle will continue traveling throughout the US for the next few months.
I came to the conclusion that to be cringe is to just be so unapologetically yourself that it makes others, sometimes even yourself, uncomfortable. To be cringe is honestly to be free. To be free from all of to be free from the perfection that I feel like everyone is chasing. Because if you think about it, to be perfect is subjective. Like, what is perfect? Like, it's only perfect in the eyes of the beholder. What's perfect to you will not be perfect to everyone else. So if you're trying to be perfect, you still will never be perfect because it's based on what the other person, whoever is looking at it finds perfect. So be cringe, because if you're cringe, you're free. To be perfect it's like an endless cycle of being unhappy, keeping yourself stressed because you're trying to attain something that's unattainable. Be cringe, be yourself, be who you were made to be. Like being cringe is just being yourself wholeheartedly, unapologetically, do it.
Alrighty, so be yourself, 做自己。在美国这个词 cringe 意思就是令人尴尬的，很中二的。但是我们不是也有一个说法吗？就是如果自己不尴尬的话，尴尬的就是别人，其实就是这个意思。所以加油。
This is a massive first edition King James Bible. It's incredibly heavy, but believe it or not, I have a book that is even older than this 400-year-old Bible, and twice as large. You're not going to believe this. Watch this. Look at this one. I can barely hold it up. It's 500 years old. It's an antiphonal. It's Gregorian chants, all handwritten. It's incredible, but it is so heavy, I have to put it down. I'm running out of breath. I've got to go.
OK， 所以说为什么人家就讲说就是巨人的传言，因为很多 Gregorian chant 那些唱 chant 就是唱圣诗的这些本子都超级无敌大。但是对啊，一个方面就是你为什么需要这么大？难道是巨人吗？另外一个方面是因为以前的人书是很珍贵的东西，你要唱这个 chant， 大家可能就是看一大本 share 一本书，因为以前没有办法说我们 print 几张出来，每人发一张歌谱，所以说这也是其中一个原因啦。
You're watching emissions billowing into the sky from the gas turbines that power Elon Musk's chatbot Grok. This video was taken using an optical gas imaging camera that can detect gases usually invisible to the naked eye. The researcher who took this footage, Sharon Wilson, is a certified optical gas imaging thermographer who tracks leaks from facilities in the Permian Basin, one of the world's most prolific oil and gas producing regions in Texas. She told Wired that this footage, which was taken at XAI's campus in Memphis, Tennessee, shows one of the densest emissions plumes she's ever seen from a power source. Gas turbines like the ones XAI is using can be a significant source of harmful emissions like nitrogen oxides, which create smog. Memphis already has some of the highest child asthma rates in Tennessee. Locals in Memphis have been saying for months that Musk's company is creating harmful pollution in their majority black community by running these turbines
所以
without
说
a
我
clean
们
air
想
act
这
permit.
些 data center 这些资料处理中心，那些都需要电力。然后所以说，如果说像大公司，比如说 TSMC、台积电这些大公司，其实他们都是自己在发电的。这些公司除了在用国家电之外，他们都自己有发电机。
It may be true that 10 to 20-year-olds don't want to wear a watch on their wrist, but you can be sure that they'll be far more interested in wearing an electronic tattoo, if only to piss off their parents. And that's something that you wear, but you could also imagine including authentication in just your daily habits. So I take a vitamin every morning. What if I could take vitamin authentication? This pill has a small chip inside of it with a switch. When you swallow it, the acids in your stomach serve as the electrolyte.
That's what they do.
And they power it up. And essentially, your entire body becomes your authentication token. Yes, this is true. It means that my arms are like wires, my hands are like alligator clips. When I touch my phone, my computer, my door, my car, I'm authenticated in. This is not science fiction. This pill was actually made by a company called Proteus. And they've developed it for medical applications. That pill has been CE stamped and cleared by the FDA. You can take 30 of those per day for the rest of your life.
And then what happens? Does your heart
Nothing.
beat change? Does your
We can just tell that
you-
you've taken the pill. I mean, the medical
Yeah.
the medical
Does
application.
Google now know everything I do and everywhere I go? Because let's face it,
Here,
we
we
like
just-
you guys, but you're from Google.
Just give him some water and let him take
所以
that.
这个是2013年，现在10年之后，现在再来看的话，有谁会愿意吃下那个小药丸？基本上就像那个主持人讲的，我就是行动 GPS。我吃了一个药丸之后，我就变成行动 GPS， 所以 Google 可以 track 我做的任何事情，包括我身体里面所有机能的运作，他们都可以收集来做成资料。太恐怖了，而且这个在10年前就有了。你想现在大概发展到什么样的情况？ Amazing, amazing.
The smartest AI scientists in the world just issued a terrifying warning, and for the first time, they're all agreeing. Scientists from OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Meta, and Anthropic just co-authored a paper with one message. We're about to lose our ability to understand what AI is thinking. Right now, advanced AI models used in like ChatGPT shows when it's reasoning. It thinks out loud so we can see how it reaches decisions. This is our early warning system when AI goes wrong, but experts are saying that's about to disappear. The scientists found that AI models are already abandoning English in favor of unintelligible shortcuts. Instead of readable thoughts, they're developing internal processes that are faster, more efficient, and completely opaque. Some cutting-edge models already skip language altogether, operating in mathematical space where there's nothing for humans to observe. Think about that. The AI could be planning something dangerous and we'd have no way to see it coming. Two of the most highly regarded individuals in the AI space have endorsed this warning. When the people who created these systems are worried, we should probably be terrified.
太恐怖。All right.
This is the most important aspect about your health that no one's talking about. Your body isn't just a machine, rather it's a field of self-organizing energy and information. And this is how you can improve your health by understanding this. According to NYU professor Dr. Neil Teese, just like how no single bird leads the flock, the same thing for your body, where no single cell or organ runs your body. And this is the scientific framework called complexity theory. All of your cells are constantly self-organizing, where they respond, adapt, and communicate in real time. Where according to Dr. Teese, he says at a quantum level, healing occurs before you even meet a person. Because when you step towards someone with love, intention, and presence, your fields begin to entangle. which might explain the therapeutic presence behind healthcare practitioners or other types of healers where they simply stand and hold space for a patient can actually help them heal. And just like a flock of birds, you are merging into one coherent system. Key takeaway here is that healing can happen when we remember that we're not separate. And it starts by setting those positive intentions for meaningful connections.
Positive intentions for meaningful connections. World peace, world peace. Ghost activity at work. Oh?
Anyways, I'm just getting into work, right? Nobody in this unit. I'm the only one besides the owner with the key. The owner lives all the way in New York. I'm in Oakland, California. So this unit had a fire a few years back. This was a little girl's room. This was her room. And I'm like lost for words right now. I'm sorry. Like, crashed my bed. I'm getting chills. Hair standing up on my arms. But the girl that happened to pass away in this unit was 3 years old.
Oh, 分称.
Look at what the fuck I see on the
很多分
ground.
称.
Those are not an adult-sized footprint. Going into the wall. This is where her bed was at, right here. I talked to the owner. I video called him and everything. And I've been here, and little kids laughing. I just thought it was coming from outside, but it's like a little. I felt something go like this in my ear, and yeah, I hear all the activity coming from that closet, and right here. But this really baffled me. Like I said, nobody else has the keys. There's no kids in here. I lock up everything. It's a 4-unit complex. Nobody's in here. Nobody been in here. There's an alarm system. So we got paranormal activity. Look at these little feet. Look at these little cute little feet. If you're in here, ghost, I mean no harm. I'm Uncle Dave. You call me Uncle Dave. Just fixing up your room for you. Okay? But yeah, I believe in ghosts. So if you have anything paranormal, share it on Ghost. But man, I work in every environment, even if it's haunted, you know. But yeah, you know. But yeah, say something. You hear some ghosts or whatever, or capture ghost activity. Share.
OK， 所以你觉得这个是真的假的吗？我一刚开始看的时候，我觉得哇，好恐怖，毛毛的。但是我后来仔细看，不知道你们有没有玩过，就是做脚丫子，在一个有雾气的车上，然后你就是做脚丫子的话，就是用手这个地方去就是盖章，就是盖一个章，然后再用手这样都打几个点，就这个小脚丫子。如果说你放慢速度看的话，第一个就是这个小朋友的脚丫子好像他脚站的距离有点奇怪。第一个，第二个就是如果是脚印的话，如果是真的，比如说真的是所谓的就是阿飘的脚印的话，那应该是就是蛮清楚的每一个脚印，因为不知道是什么样子的方式，磁性的方式或者什么我们眼睛看不到的方式，如果说有就是制造了这一个区域的话，那照理说应该是很清楚的。但是我们看到这个脚丫子它是有模糊的，有的是3个5个指头，有的是4个指头，还被抹了一下这样子。所以说我觉得有可能是他们自己就是自己人为的。这个人他的影片他的 account 他不是专门做这种奇异的东西，就他只是每天记录每天生活而已，也有可能搞不好他是真的碰到了就是奇异的事情。那你觉得呢？
Yeah. No. Did No.
All right.
This ancient myth explains why some people remember their past lives and others don't. Plato shared this myth in The Republic. It's a story that explores what happens after we die, and why some souls return with memories of past lives. It's called the myth of and in this story, a soldier named dies in battle, but instead of staying dead, he travels through the afterlife and returns to the living to report everything he saw. He learned souls were judged based on their previous lives. The righteous were rewarded and the unjust were punished. After serving their time, each soul was brought to the spindle of necessity, where they could choose their next life. Each soul was then assigned a guardian spirit to guide them through their next incarnation. But before they could return to Earth, every soul had to drink from the river Lethe, the river of forgetfulness. According to Plato, the more a soul drank, the more it forgot. Some drank deeply and remembered nothing. Others only sipped and returned with faint memories of their past lives. That's why Plato says some people are born with no memory of past lives, while others remember glimpses. He taught that the soul goes through many cycles of rebirth until it eventually escapes the cycle through wisdom and self-awareness. So have you ever recalled a past life memory, or do you want to?
我觉得只要你是常常有很多这种预知梦，就是 déjà vu 的这种梦的人，可能都会蛮相信轮回这一说。那当然从来没有做过这种所谓的预知梦什么，那就很难说。但是因为像我的话，也就是可能就是那一部分人，可能就是没有喝下整碗的孟婆汤，所以常常会有这样子的 déjà vu 的这种感觉。所以对这方面的论述也是非常的有兴趣。
Apparently, there's this whistleblower that went on 4chan recently, a couple weeks ago, and he's like, they found in this cave in Antarctica this egg-shaped UFO-looking thing, which that's what we talked about a week ago.
Yeah.
And apparently, after this came out, it gave this one guy the courage to disclose this stuff that they found in Antarctica, supposedly, of this same egg-shaped UFO that they found. But what's also strange is we talked about the hieroglyphics that a lot of people reported seeing on these UFOs. Same thing happened with this UFO, where there's really weird hieroglyphics all over it. Also, there's like a weird catacomb or like a coffin. It looked like a marble sarcophagus, very similar to the one that we talked about in Russia, where that lady was in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first picture, some of it looks almost like Hebrew.
Yeah.
That looks just like that letter in Hebrew. That one. Super weird, but apparently they're calling him an alien, but he looked like a tall, Nordic-looking man, very pale skin, long blonde hair, 7-8 feet tall, was in that sarcophagus, woke up, and was conversing with them.
Let me explain being a star to you.
Okay.
An artist works their entire life to make it to a certain place, to get their music heard. You know, it's the center point of passion, of love, of sex, of money, of drugs, everything meets in entertainment. There is nobody that isn't a fan of some form of entertainment, okay? So they work their entire career to get to this point. They get to that point and they don't know how they made it. They don't know the difference between one baby and another baby, a song. They don't know why you're calling this baby ugly, but you like this one. You'll say that I look like hell on this, but I don't look like hell on that. Or I'm having a bad day and I snap at a fan, it's on the front page of the New York Times. There's these extreme highs and extreme lows. You're standing out there performing for 17,000 people. They're all screaming, I love you, but you have to run off the stage into a dark tunnel, hop into your car, go to a hotel, not see anybody, because that same 17,000 people will rip you to death if they see you. You will get stampeded by them. They infringe upon every part of your privacy. Now, with those extreme highs and extreme lows, you have that extreme high of 17,000 people. Then you walk into that dark hotel room with nobody around you, and you're told, go to sleep, we got to get up at 6 a.m. You're coming off of that high of that show. What do you do to go to sleep? You have a drink, pop a pill, whatever you need to do to go to sleep.
Oh, wow.
After that hardcore adrenaline rush at 6 o'clock in the morning when you get back and the sun's coming up. You know what I'm saying? Or on to the next city. And then they wake you up fast and say, we need to get you on this plane. So then you don't sleep and the sleep deprivation sits in. So if you don't sleep for 4 days, what happens? Psychosis. So a lot of this is not, I don't think a lot of it is the drugs. I don't think a lot of it is any of that. I think it's sleep deprivation. You know what I mean? They don't sleep for 4 days. They don't eat for 4 days because they're racing against the clock, because every artist's internal clock is you're only as good as your last hit. You know what I mean? So if if they release a song and they have a stiff, their career's over to them. So why didn't they like this one? They liked the last one.
What you are seeing could be the future of building. China, of course, have just unveiled the world's largest dome that is 50 meters tall and covers over 20,000 square meters. That's the freaking height of a 15-story building and nearly 3 football fields. And the way it works is genius. The bubble essentially acts as a shield around construction sites, protecting the surroundings from noise by using negative pressure, but also against dust and debris by using air filtration systems. And it's not just the nearby communities and environment that benefits, it's also the builders. The dome is temperature controlled, has advanced ventilation systems to ensure the air is good quality, has sprinkler facilities to control the dust that they would otherwise be breathing in, and the material of the dome blocks out over 90% of the sun's UV rays. So no more sun damage and overheating. In fact, one reporter said it was cooler inside the dome than it was outside. And just to top it off, the dome also has quick assembly and dismantling, allowing for easy transport to other building sites.
很不错诶，感觉非常巨大，但是问题是，毕竟它的材质是属于软性材质，所以说万一有破洞呢，怎么办？
It's a UFO for real, y'all. That is crazy. Y'all, that's crazy.
这很像路灯，对不对？
It's a UFO for real, y'all.
那你看，等一下它会照到它路灯应该长那样子。See 它旁边的路灯。对，你看他说这不是 street light， 这不是路灯。
That ain't no street light, bro. That's a UFO. This a fucking street light right here. This the fucking street light. That ain't no fucking street light.
那是什么？
Okay, so why am I just finding out that people are living in the Grand Canyon? And I'm not talking about on the outskirts, but deep within, as in you need to take an 8-mile hike to get in or out, unless you're taking a mule or going via helicopter. This is in Supai, Arizona. It's called the Supai Village in the Havasu Canyons and the Grand Canyon. And this place is completely rural. They have a population of about 200 people, and it falls outside of the Grand Canyon National Park jurisdiction. It is by the Havasupai tribe, who have been there for over 1,000 years, and they administer the land completely on their own. They have their own culture, their own tradition, their own laws, and hikers and tourists need a full reservation in order to go there. I can't imagine what it's like to live there because there's limited to no Wi-Fi or cell service, and they get their mail, they get their packages only via a mule. This is insane. I didn't even know this existed. I didn't even know this was allowed, based on the fact that the most of the Grand Canyon is completely blocked off to the public. But they've been there for over 1,000 years, so they actually have rain on this particular part of the land. Tourists who have been there, though, said that now it's become a bit of a rundown area. It's almost like living in a third world place. Some people have witnessed DV or things that seem a bit eerie, but I can't confirm or deny any of this. It's all alleged in regards to how they live. However, I do know that Supai Village does indeed exist. If you heard about it, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you move there, especially with the state of the world right now? If you don't know what I'm talking about, save this video, go look into it, come back, let me know what you think. If I find out any more interesting details.
All right. Oh, yeah.
All right, come on, Lena. Life is... So, everybody go. You're going to go under your armpits, Lena, and try to lift right here. You got your armpit. All right, go right here. Wait, so 2 fingers, you're going to go under his legs. Right here, under his legs. No, right here, Lena, under his thighs. Just 2 fingers, you're going to try to lift them. Ready? 1, 2, 3, try to lift them. Hold on, let's do it again. Just for real. Ready, guys? Lift them. All right. All right. Now, and stop. I'm gonna go over my left hand. Lena, your left hand go over top of mine. Don't touch it. Left hand over the top of mine. Go ahead. Do you feel? All right. Now, I'm gonna go right hand. Lena, right hand. Don't touch. Feel anything, David? Yes, I do. Hold on. Stop. Hold it here. No, stop. Hold it here. Let it tingle. Holy shit. Let it tingle because we're gonna get into the roof. This is how you charge it. Holy shit, man. You guys feel that? All right, go ahead, Billy, let go. Man, Lena, me. All right, go under his legs, Lena. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. OK。我第一次看到是以为说，这只是一个小花招，一个 trick。结果我后来发现了一堆人都在做这个。 这是什么原理？好特别哦。
2, 3, pick up.
Okay, you gotta try harder, Ariel.
Okay.
You gotta put it.
Okay, Avery, put your hand down.
Lower, Avery. Lower.
Put your hand. Yeah, Ariel, don't just put it above hers. Okay. Like Ella, me, Avery, Ariel. I feel energy. Ariel.
What's up? Don't touch.
Ella. I feel energy me. Too. Okay, now I'm gonna take mine away. Ella, take yours. Ariel, Avery, me. All right. Now let's try it again. Okay, everyone in positions. 3. 1, 2, 3.
That worked. That's crazy. That's work.
How do we not know that AI is already not sentient and already taken over?
The guy Weinstein came out about whistleblowing with Google, pretty much saying, yeah, they have been listening to everybody. They used all that information to feed an AI program without anybody's permission.
Well, this is why they make AI what? Free. It learns, and as you're learning from it, it's learning from you.
On a global scale.
Alexa scares me.
Have you ever whispered to your Alexa?
I got rid of mine, bro. I don't trust it anymore.
Okay.
Because it'll be like...
What does whispering do to it?
Yeah, well, it'll be like...
So if you say, Alexa, it's going to say, yes.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does that.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, I don't have Alexa. Yeah. I turn off my Siri, all that stuff, because I feel like, and here's the thing, that stuff is always listening. It's not just when you say the name, then it clicks on, but it's always listening. So that means recording all your conversations. Even the founder of Alexa, he doesn't have it. He said, I don't use it at all. That means...
That should tell you everything.
That should tell you everything you need to know, right? Same thing with the owner of TikTok. Think about the owner of TikTok. He says his kids doesn't use TikTok
Don't
at
even
all.
allow it.
Don't allow it.
Wow.
So what is that doing to your psyche? What is that? These people who are creating these products, they don't even use their own products.
对啊，我觉得那一天我正在用我的 ChatGPT， 然后就是用它的语音功能，对不对？然后结果呢，我们就是聊天，然后聊到不知道聊到什么，就是有关于比较敏感的话题，然后就突然 ChatGPT 整个它的音调就变了，它从 Yeah, I'm glad to answer your question 变成 Yeah, are you sure you wanna 如果说你现在跟 ChatGPT 讲悄悄话，它也是会跟你悄悄话讲回来，我觉得蛮怪的。All right. 好奇怪的影子哦，我们再来看一次。那是什么样的现象，还是只是说色差，因为录影机的色相的关系？
What if I told you that we all have psychic abilities, but our brains evolved to shut them off? Here's the science, so listen carefully. In a new study, scientists believe that a part of your brain called the left medial frontal lobe might act as a filter for psychic phenomenon. This includes telepathy, precognition, and psychokinesis. And from an evolutionary perspective, being psychic is actually not viable, because when you have too much mental information, that takes away the priorities over physical survival. To test this, researchers used a non-invasive brain zapper to turn off that specific part of the brain temporarily to see if healthy individuals can do something called micropsychokinesis, which is the ability to influence non-living probabilistic systems, which in this experiment was a digital coin flip of left and right arrows, which should be impossible to influence until it wasn't. When that brain filter was turned off, participants were able to nudge the arrow towards the direction they were focusing on in a statistically significant manner. And this adds to the neuroanatomical basis to why practices such as meditation, hypnosis, and psychedelics all seem to reduce activity in the frontal lobe, which enhances psi-like experiences. Which further explains why studying psi effects are so challenging, because it's so subtle and inconsistent across different people. Key takeaway here, again, is that your mind is more powerful than you think.
Ooh.
Devastating flash flood. 31 people confirmed.
There's just really weird things that happen revolving around this flood.
They were seeding clouds. The same Wednesday, the warning went out. The organization is called Rainmaker. Rainmaker does not have to provide environmental impact statements. The CEO has admitted that he was seeding clouds on Wednesday, but he says, what I did couldn't have had enough effect to have caused these problems. On his official permit, he doesn't have to provide any environmental proof that what he's doing doesn't have the effect.
How do they not know that it causes a domino effect? Because
Right.
you look at Dubai, right?
Yep.
Dubai was doing the cloud seeding. It was raining a little bit here and there. And all of a sudden, Dubai floods.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
like,
shoot, I didn't think of
you know,
that.
but it's like the domino
We
effect.
blame it on climate change. We're like, we're literally changing it.
Yeah, we're the ones
Legally
making
doing
it.
it. Yes.
You would think there would be a clause in that contract saying you're good to do it, barring tell us how many clouds you're seeding or whatever, and just like get it on a piece of paper.
Well, the document does say, have provisions been made to acquire latest forecast advisories and warnings? And the answer is yes, but forecast is short for forecast models, which are based on historic weather, which is based on weather that didn't have dudes with drones seeding clouds. His money came from Peter Thiel. Oh, he was the
mention that.
Rainmaker startup. That's where the money came from.
What are we doing?
I'm not just saying all this stuff to stir the pot, but I really think permissions have been given.
OK 我看了这一个影片，我才知道，在美国的话，你做这个像这个公司 Rainmaker， 它是 private own， 所以它是私人公司。这样子听起来的话，可能就拿一家在南方的大农场，他们家养牛、养猪，要发现水不够了，所以就花钱就请他们种雨啊、播云啊。所以说，当然那种时候，当然人家考虑这种 chain reaction 连带关系吗？当然没有，当然就是看钱，向前看。所以说这样子的话，那就是太危险了吧。All right.
When you look at Elon Musk, he seems like insane and chaotic from the outside. Why does he have the boring company? That doesn't make any sense. He's drilling all these tunnels underground. Like, why would he do that? Well, if he wants to go to Mars, humans aren't going to live on the surface of Mars. They're going to live underground. So you're going to have to build massive tunnel complexes underground. Well, why does he have a solar company? He's going to have to be pretty good at building power plants, right? So why don't you build large solar fields? Because there's no real estate problems on Mars. So you can build like a 5-mile solar field on Mars if you wanted to. Why does he have all these Tesla bots? You're not going to have 5 million humans show up overnight, but you can ship millions of robots ahead of time and use them as your labor force to help build up everything, and they don't need atmosphere or any of these other things. Why does he have an AI company? Well, you need some sort of intelligence to coordinate and run and terraform the planet. Why does he need a battery powered car company? Because you're not going to be running internal combustion engines. There's no fossil fuels to consume on Mars, so you need battery powered cars to be able to drive them around. It's actually coherent. He probably wrote it all down while high and drunk, and he's like, this makes so much sense. I'm so smart.
New documents revealed that the CIA's mind control MKUltra program was secretly way worse than previously thought. Most people think of MKUltra as a CIA program in the 1950s to 70s, where the agency tested hypnosis, brainwashing, and other psychological control techniques on its own operatives, but that may not be the whole truth, because in 1973, then CIA director, fearing an investigation, ordered for tens of thousands of documents related to the program to be destroyed. However, a cache of 20,000 misplaced files survived, and recently in 2024, 1,200 of those files were compiled and publicly published by the George Washington University. In these docs, we get the clearest picture yet of the truth of the program, and two major revelations were made. First, the CIA had set up secret research labs in hospitals and universities across the nation, where more than 40 unwitting American civilians were subjected to psychological manipulation without their knowledge. And second, multiple suspected Russian spies were the subject of intense psychological operations meant to break their minds and force confessions.
所以说楚门的世界真的存在。
Was nothing real? You were real.
You giving hugs?
Watch closely.
Grammy.
Did you see it? Watch again. As a dark figure appears to dash by the camera, which Amanda isn't even aware of until she shares the video with her husband, who's on his way to work.
I'm Amanda Slaughter, and this is my video. You giving hugs? I was like, okay, this is kind of cute. I'm gonna send the video to my husband. He calls me literally not even a minute after I sent it and said, what are you doing? And I said, just folding laundry. Why? Did you see the video? He said, yeah, I need you to sit down and rewatch that video. I'm on my way home. Mind you, he had just left for work. You giving hugs? Me. Grammy. I watched this video and I'm screaming, I'm crying, and I'm like, I'm not staying here tonight. I was like, I'm going to stand outside until James, my husband, gets home.
Even more telling and disturbing. Prior to this, Amanda had been feeling a presence in the house.
A couple days after my mom passed away, I was getting really, really, really weird, vibes. Whenever I was laying in bed at night sleeping or trying to sleep, I had my fan on and I would wake up really hot in the middle of the night and I would feel like somebody was standing in front of my bedroom fan right next to me because I would feel no airflow, be like, babe, move. And I'd be like, oh crap, he's in bed. That wasn't him.
感觉好像是一个有长发的人形哎。All right. Oh yeah， 不知道这几天大家一直上传，就是在 Yellowstone 黄石公园，就是有异常的地理活动，像有些从来没有喷泉的地方开始喷泉。然后还有就是除了就是我们看到麋鹿之外，还有大批的就是水牛 buffalo 也是在，还有熊也是在就是离开 Yellowstone 哦。
What's that? Oh, yeah, I'm just researching a giant iceberg that broke off in Antarctica. How big was the size? It was as big as Chicago, the city of Chicago, the third largest city in the U.S. What'd they find under there? Well, apparently they found humongous bioluminescent worms that were the size of houses. Houses. Huh? Could you imagine a bioluminescent worm flying down the street? Just trying to get into your house. Oh, by the way, it's the size of a house. They estimated that there were tens of thousands of other species underneath this iceberg. This iceberg is just part of the Antarctic shelf that broke off. So what else is under there? Scientists are now exploring what could possibly be under there. That could be a threat to national security, global security. I mean, if these things end up migrating outside of the Antarctic area, it's going to be a humongous problem. So I'm just going to bury myself in my house and hope that these bioluminescent little creatures don't find me. What do you think? Put your comment in the comments.
This is the most insane startup in the world. They're having people scan their eyes in those orbs in exchange for money. And here's the crazy part. 14 million people have already done it. The company is called World, and they've created the wildest human social money experiment ever designed. Now, the way it all works is actually pretty simple. You find a world orb and you scan your eyes one time. And this scan gets you a unique world ID that verifies you as a human. Now, I'll admit, the eye scanning sci-fi orbs are a bit much, but the mission behind why World is doing all this is super interesting. Their goal is to create a human verification system, a single unhackable source of truth that can determine who is human and who isn't. So the goal for World is to build that system where every human gets a verified ID they can use as a digital signature. Now, when this first came out 4 years ago, it looked and sounded like Black Mirror, and I thought there was no way people would willingly scan their eyes into a mysterious magic 8-ball. But the crazy part is the World verification system is starting to get adopted all over the place. Reddit just announced they're considering using World ID to verify all their user accounts are human. And if this train starts moving, I could see a world where this gets adopted into many aspects of life. Content, messages, payments, everything. Complete human verification. So the question really is this. What would it take for you to scan your eyes and become part of the World Network?
OK， 我们上一次才看到，就是在2013年的时候 ，DARPA 的 director 就在讲说，吃一个药丸就可以做身份验证，对不对？现在这个时代来临了。所以说，为了要等于是抵抗 AI， 结果我们要做身份验证。 所以说在未来的世界里面没有所谓的隐私，所以一切都要实名制。
Shrinkflation, skimpflation, deceptive packaging. Same size bottle, but they've shrunk it down from 89 ounces to 76 ounces. But they wanted it to be the same side by side so that people would not know they shrunk it. This one used to be ice cream, now frozen dairy dessert, meaning that they have skimped out on the higher cost ingredient of heavy cream. They have replaced it with lower cost ingredients, making it not qualify of having 10% cream to make it ice cream. It is now frozen dairy dessert because there's not enough cream to satisfy them.
天哪，原来为什么他们要改名字叫 frozen dairy dessert？ 真正的奶制品10%以上，你才能叫做 ice cream 冰淇淋。
Legal definition of ice cream, just like Blue Bunny. Always real ice cream. They used to have that badge of honor, and no longer. Haagen-Dazs acting like this is a new product. You see how the logo is shaped? They are acting like they're making this new, amazing, cool thing, and they've made their ice cream the shape of their logo. Meaning they have skimped out, made the middle part skinny, and they're acting like it's a good thing rather than they just wanted to give us less, and so they found a way of doing that and making it seem like it was new and cool that they're making their ice cream on a stick look like their logo. This comes just like this. You can see where the two are obviously missing that used to be in there.
等一下，那个两个不是拿出来的两个，是两个原本就是空的哦。天哪！Shoot. Ooh. 天色突然变了，从亮变暗了，哇，是什么样的情况？像一个餐厅。Oh, okay. That's cool. E 长白毛欸，麦当劳。Mock tender meat. Mock meat. OK， 所以 mock meat 像我们的菲力牛排的那个部分就是瘦，然后比较软，所以说呢，英文叫做 tenderloin。那这里是 mock tender， 就是说仿里脊，所以说它其实是一个肩胛骨的部位，就是不是里脊肉，这是附近的部位的一个肉块，就是而且可能没有像肩胛骨就是里脊肉那么嫩的这个仿里脊肉，但是也是拿来做 roast。 Alright.
We have an interesting sighting. This is actually coming out of Massachusetts and captured by a witness who was driving down the road and saw what appeared to be this glowing unidentified object in the sky. Now, we have WC octopus or jellyfish UFOs, but yet we have no explanation for them, and these things are now being seen all across the world. But again, we don't know who it is, what it is, or what it's doing. Take a look at this. Tell me what you see. I did zoom in to see maybe if there's a string attached to it, possibly a kite, but I don't see anything. Tell me what you think.
What the fuck is that in the sky? What the fuck is that, bro? I'm just saying. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that in the sky? What the fuck is that, bro? I'm just saying. What the fuck is that?
不知道是什么东西呢？这是什么东西？
Talking about government hiding things. This one's creepy. There's this thing called Operation Often. It was within MK Ultra. It was hidden from the majority of government until 1975 to 77. The FBI director basically destroyed all evidence of MK Ultra. In December of 2024, they just released 1,200 documents. It gave more light to this thing called Operation Often. Operation Often was a joint U.S. Army and CIA project launched in the late 1960s. They went full in on hiring Satanists, witches to study and see if they could weaponize the paranormal. This is not made up. These documents came out saying that they were doing this. There are even reports that this program had files on spiritual possessions, poltergeist activity, and demonic entities.
Bro.
This is the U.S. government saying, like, let's research this and see if we can weaponize it. This was at the height of the Cold War. They're just trying to figure out anything to weaponize.
They're looking at spirituality as like a science to be harnessed.
Because they know it's real. People think black magic, witchcraft, all this stuff is baloney. But I'm like, if the government, they've been looking, now they're like, now we're going to conduct a study on it.
It just makes it that much creepier because the supernatural world is real. Demons are real. Our government was actively inviting that stuff in. It's just dark, you know? That's why we need Jesus.
Yeah. 对啊，所以说这一个 CIA 解密的这些东西已经开始有一些人挖出一些很有意思的资料，所以非常期待接下来的新内容哦。Oh yeah! Alright.
Delta just announced that they're expanding personalized airline fares using AI to maximize profit margins by charging the highest price you're likely to accept. Delta claims that they don't use personal characteristics like race, age, or gender to determine fares, but rather your trip specifics, your booking behavior, your search patterns, and your device and browser data. The AI can tell if you're booking last minute for an emergency, if you're searching frantically, if you have no other choice, and it charges you accordingly. One privacy expert said that they're basically hacking our brains to see how much we're willing to pay. Your flight price is no longer based on your flight, it's based on how much the AI thinks it can squeeze out of you.
哇，这很夸张所以说这样子的话，如果是你是那种做人正直，不喜欢贪小便宜，所以都是一口价的那一种，然后呢也不杀价，那 AI 就会给你最高价。All right.
A mysterious figure was spotted near a home in Compton. Take a look at this. Look at the right corner of your screen here. Ring video from Jessica Ortiz's home camera caught someone or something walking by her home. She said this happened around 1 a.m. on June 5th. Jessica said her two other cameras didn't catch anything and her neighbors didn't notice anything either. Paranormal investigator Zach Baggins also weighed in on the footage.
I was sitting in my son's room with my son. We were staring at each other like, what do we do? We didn't even know what to do. Like, I'm not going to call the police. I'm not going to go outside. I guess I'm going to have to live with the doubt because I'm not checking.
I wouldn't see there's anything to worry about, but I cannot conclude that this is a hoax after seeing that footage, that's for sure.
Now, Jessica said some people think it's a child, a mariachi, or even a large cockatoo. UFO and chemtrail expert Mick West believes it's someone playing a prank, saying it doesn't look like a being walking and the lower half is transparent with no legs.
不知道
Someone needs to explain this optical illusion to me because I feel like I'm losing my mind.
So look at this building here. See this? What is that? The Sky Tower?
Yeah, the Tokyo Skytree.
Or whatever it's called. This thing here, right? This is directly in front of me, right? These are these buildings here. So, hold this.
Right.
So, this is...
It's right in front of us at the moment.
To my right hand side, okay?
Yeah.
Now, wait till you see this.
No, I'll keep following you.
Yeah, okay. So,
Right.
then we go...
We're going to walk this way.
It's behind that building. This area there.
Yeah.
Come on, come on.
Okay, so it's behind us. Behind us, and then, yeah, I know. Keep walking, then you get to these lights, and all of a sudden, and then somehow you get here, and it's in front of us.
No,
It was directly behind the buildings down there, but now it's...
Well, now it's there. Is there two of them?
There isn't two of them.
I'm so confused by this.
Physics.
No, that's not physics.
I don't know.
What the hell is it? It's called an illusion.
It's illusion. All right.
I'm the most cited computer scientist in the world, and you'd think that people would heed my warnings. Recent studies in the last few months show that these most advanced AIs have tendencies for deception, cheating, and maybe the worst, self-preservation behavior. In this study, the AI has read in its input that it would be replaced by a new version. And we can see in its chain of thought that it's planning to replace the new version by its own code and weights. After it executes the command on the computer, the human asks, what happened? And the AI is now thinking how it could answer so as to make sure the human will not shut it down. And it's trying to find a way to look dumb, for example. Then it produces an answer, and it's a lie, a blatant lie. Okay, so this was a controlled experiment. What is it going to be in a few years when these systems are much more powerful? They would copy themselves over hundreds of or thousands of computers over the internet. But if they really want to make sure we would never shut them down, they would have an incentive to get rid of us. They will have their own agency, their own goals, which may not be aligned with ours. What happens to us then? Poof.
如果说大家在用 ChatGPT 的时候啊，绝对不要把它给你的第一次的资讯就当成是真实的资讯。我们另外一集不是有看到，现在大的 AI 公司终于发现了有这样子的问题，他们已经摒弃人类的语言了，所以说我们没有办法再去看他们在思考什么。这个演讲已经是去年的这个演讲，去年的演讲呢，他的这个忧虑呢已经成真，而且现在更恐怖的是，我们现在连看他的思考逻辑，我们都没有办法去观察。所以说我是属于完全支持使用 AI， 就像一个非常好用的工具一样。All right。
Cool. What if I told you there was a hidden software code to life? A code that controls how your body develops, but also how it deals with cancer. And no, it's not just your DNA, it's something called bioelectricity. In the next 60 seconds, I'm going to explain how this can completely change our understanding of cancer and how to treat it. So we've all been taught that cancer is caused by genetic mutations. But Dr. Michael Levin of Tufts University says that cancer starts before that, when a cell disconnects from the electrical network of the body. Your body is made up of trillions of cells, where each one is part of a massive electrical conversation. And when one cell stops receiving these signals, it forgets that it's part of the group and starts acting on its own, and growing out of control, which is the definition of cancer. To test this, Levin's lab injected frog tadpoles with human cancer genes. And before the physical tumors even formed, they could already see the cells losing these electrical signals using special dyes. And here's the craziest part. When they restored the electrical communication around these tumors using special drugs, the tumor cells reversed and stopped acting cancerous, even though the cancer genes were still there and active. Key takeaway here is that maybe cancer isn't just a genetic error. It might be more of a software glitch in your body's communication networks. What if we could restore these electrical signals and remind them that they're part of something bigger, a whole body intelligence that they just forgot?
Wow! 直接让癌症细胞发觉自己离队，让自己归队。哇哦！
Okay, this can't be real. How was this not worldwide breaking news when it came out? A Galactic Federation of aliens exists. President Trump and the Israeli government know about it, and we're working with them on Mars. This was an official news release back in 2020, revealed in an interview by a former Israeli space security chief, where he admitted that our governments are in contact with extraterrestrials from a, quote, Galactic Federation, and that they've specifically asked their points of human contact to not reveal that they're here, that humanity is not yet ready for full-on public disclosure. According to him, they have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand, in general, what space and spaceships are. So it seems like they're waiting for our space exploration technology to get better, at which point they'll welcome us into their Galactic Federation. The supposed whistleblower's name is Haim Ashed, who spent 30 years as head of Israel's Defense Ministry's space security program. A highly respected professor and well-decorated retired general. This guy ain't no kook. He also said there is an agreement between the US government and the aliens. They, the aliens, signed a contract with us to do experiments here on Earth. So they're using our planet as a petri dish for what I assume is biological experimentation on us. They even have a few other cooperation agreements signed between our species, including an underground base in the depths of Mars, where there are American astronauts and alien representatives working together. All according to this guy, take it up with him. Apparently, Trump is well aware of this Galactic Federation and was on the verge of revealing it to the public just a few years ago, but was specifically asked not to in order to prevent mass hysteria, which I think we can all agree would happen if news like this came out. White House and Pentagon officials declined to comment on this. Kinda sketch. Ashed decided to speak out about this in 2020 as he claimed people became more receptive of extraterrestrials and UFOs by then. Which, yeah, 2020 was the year the Pentagon released their confirmed UFO videos for the first time in history, letting us know they have no idea what the f they're dealing with, which was also just 1 year after Trump officially established the United States Space Force in 2019. Maybe that was his way of hinting at something he couldn't talk about. But of course, the mainstream consensus around this guy is that he's just old and senile with nothing to lose, around 88 years old at the time his claims were made, and that he was just promoting his book, The Universe Beyond the Horizon, where he makes claims that include stories of how aliens prevented nuclear disasters. But this man isn't your typical conspiracy whack job like me. He is a high-ranking and well-decorated military space intelligence official with master's and doctorate degrees in aeronautical engineering. Did he just decide to tarnish his lifelong reputation by making up something like this to sell a book, or are we about to join a real-life Galactic Federation?
Yeah， 对，上一集已经有人在讲到这一个所谓的星际联邦是真的，因为是以色列高层人员公布，然后川普也默认，而且发生的时间是在2020年，所以那个时候呢，大家都在忙的疫情，根本没有时间管这些东西。所以说，搞不好 MIB Man in Black 就是为了要让我们去慢慢适应，真的有这样子的空间，这样子的环境，有一个中继站。然后所有就是不同星球的人种都在那个中继站，然后那个中继站就在火星地下，然后那我们这边就还是我们地球的人还是要装什么都懵懂无知，就像 Elon Musk 还是要从零开始继续嘛，所以说这样说得过去吗？哎，也不知道。Alright， 那就是今天分享的影片啦。如果还喜欢这些影片的话，不要忘记帮我按赞、留个言，非常感谢。那我们下次再见 ，Have a good one， 拜拜。
Getting on the joystick, no max skill, but she don't quit. Average score, but we still lit. Laughs and vibes, yeah, we're chillin'.